The following is a production of Fenix Media. The views expressed do not necessarily represent those of the company or its advertisers and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.
You're listening to Be Kind, Rewind with Tim Nydell, taking you back to when movies were actually good.
Are you telling me you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?
When music wasn't auto-tuned. When TV only had a few channels. And now, here's your host, Tim Nydell.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Be Kind, Rewind with Tim Nydell. That's me, of course. I'd appreciate if you follow me online. It's at Tim_Nydell for Twitter and Instagram. And my website is just timnydell.com. I also run a YouTube channel where I do vlogs, I do Disney trips, retro things from the 80s and 90s. I would appreciate if you guys subscribe to me on there as well. Just type in my name, Tim Nydell, and you'll find me. And as the intro said, this show, Be Kind Rewind, is all about going back to the good old days of music, the good days of movies, and of course television. And this episode is going to do exactly that because I have the great Carol Spinney on the show today. Now, this interview is a few years old. It was an interview I did on my other podcast, Saturday Morning Rewind, because Carol Spinney, unfortunately, has passed. He passed away on December 8th, 2019, but he lived a good life. You know, he really did. And he definitely gave me an amazing childhood because he was the original voice and puppeteer for Big Bird and Oscar the Grouch. So all the way from 1969 until he stopped in 2018, he was a voice and puppet of both of those. And I don't know about you guys, but I cherished both of those characters when I was a kid. I mean, I still love them now. And it's unfortunate that we did lose Carol, but his memory definitely lives on in the two characters that he created. So without further ado, here's my interview with Carol Spinney. Hey, Carol.
Hi, how are you, Tim?
Good. How are you doing today?
Great.
Well, I kind of want to start off by just saying that I'm a Sesame Street kid. I was born in 1980, and I remember loving it so much. Sitting in front of the TV before school, on sick days, I would stay home and watch Sesame Street. And so thank you so much for being such a big part of my childhood.
Well, that was my pleasure. Thank you. It's kind of a dream for me because I'm doing what I did when I was a kid. I drew comic books all the time, and I've had my own comic strip published for 2 years while I was stationed in Germany in an American newspaper. And I've been doing puppets on TV now for almost 70 years.
Wow, that's... Can you believe it? That's insane.
Yeah, really. Actually, it'd be more like 65 years, I guess.
I used to do puppet ministry for my church when I was maybe 8 years old.
Uh-huh.
So I remember just kind of tuning into Sesame Street to get the inspiration for my puppet was named Carlos. So I was Carlos the puppet. And I remember just wanting to be a puppeteer when I was a little kid.
Yeah. I saw my first show when I was about 5. I think it was. I think they were students, either high school or college. But when you're 5, you don't know how old people are.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, best kids on Sesame Street. You know, when I was doing the Bird. I still do it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But I still have the job. Anyway, I've asked little kids. So how old do you think I am? One says 100, and at that time I was in my 30s, and. And then another one said 17. I said, I like you best.
Yeah.
But I must say, to do what I was doing as a little boy, I decided by the time I was, I saw another puppet show later on when I was about 7 or 8. And I gave my first puppet show when I was 8. I bought a puppet for 5 cents.
Wow.
Oddly enough, I came across that puppet. I didn't know I still had it.
Wow. That's really cool.
Monkey I paid a nickel for.
Wow. It's got to go in some kind of museum.
Yeah. I'm just about to draw. I take commissions on drawings and full color drawings.
Uh-huh.
And they wanted a picture of Oscar and Big Bird surrounded by puppets of the world. So I have some books on puppetry. So I'm just putting about 6 or 8 puppets in the scene with them all different colors and different types, all the way from the ugly ones and from Asia. Some of them are pretty ugly.
Speaking of ugly, Big Bird was pretty hideous the first season.
He was awful. I was so disappointed when they built him around me, Although, strangely enough, it's the same head you see now as I started with in 1969.
Wow.
It's been redecorated many times with different feathers and, improved. They got better and better at every 2 years they get total rehashed. And it needed, because the feathers don't last too long.
No.
They're real feathers. And I would always be pleased sometimes when they show up. And other times I said, no, it doesn't look close enough to them. Look at your photos. It doesn't look right, So I'd have to get them straightened out.
Behold, my precious. Ooh, let me tell you something right here, It's the Loot Crate subscription box, full of exclusive loot, fun surprises delivered to your door every month.
Just pick up your favorite geeky genre, Daddy.
From the original Loot Crate, the Loot Crate DX collectible boxes, dude! Cowabunga!
To the Loot Gaming video game box.
Woohoo! Yee-hoo!
Wowzers! With kits starting as low as $11.99 per month, there's a box just about for all collectors.
To get your geek on, head over to phoenixmedia.us/Loot Crate and claim your exclusive offer. That's FENIXmedia.us/Loot Crate. Great Scott!
Snap into a Loot Crate, dig it?
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio, take one.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
People been saying to your friend, get a different face, and posting on their feed, they're super ugly. The things they say to them online are cruel and they're not true. So tell your friend, I'll stand up for you. Don't worry, I know what to do.
Know someone being bullied online? You can be a witness and make a difference by letting the world know it isn't cool, and by letting your friend know you care. Learn more at eyewitnessbullying.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us.
No, let's go a ways back and tell me about that show you did at Salt Lake City in the late 60s, the one that got really messed up. Can you tell me a little bit more about that show?
Yeah. Oddly enough, I was... on Friday night, I did a show in that very hall. It's called Kingsbury Hall at the University of Utah. So I didn't know when I was flying there on last weekend to do the show that I was going to be in the very theater I was in where everything went wrong. What happened was I had a very elaborate show. I had already learned animation, how to produce it, make it, draw it. And I just decided to build a rear screen projection theater so the puppets would perform in front of this rear screen. And I film the animation, it took almost a year to do it. I had use of a lovely animation stand for free, and so I had that's my first using of it was computerized. That was way back in the 60s.
Wow.
Although more like the early adding machines, probably more like that,
Okay.
But not really full computer. But I still don't have a computer, so. But anyway, I made this film, and the idea was that I was going to meld two mediums. One is animation, and the other is live puppetry. And for instance, when the show starts, it's a blue screen because I could project from the back 16 millimeter films, and I made the films myself. And unfortunately, I didn't make copies. I used the original, which is very unprofessional. Because eventually, before I ever got home, my car burned down and lost everything.
Oh man!
In it, and I lost, including years film work. So I couldn't have it, and the theater was mostly destroyed.
Wow.
So it was all packed into my Ford van, which were big vans in those days. So it was just a one-shot deal, but it got me this good job.
Yeah, no kidding.
And, actually, what went wrong was that I started the show, I put on my music, I bought knee switches. I could press them on my knees, because I had to do this on my knees on foam padding, because I couldn't stand up. The theater would be too tall. As it was 9 feet tall. And as the screen was the shape of the modern flat TVs, wide, long and wide.
Uh-huh.
And so the screen is blue, and these white geometric forms like triangles come dancing out and moving as though they were alive. And then the idea was that they jump off the screen, and you see them going forward. And then I would replace it with an exact duplicate of it in front. And so they would then dance with themselves, both in animation and in moving form, which I was moving around. But I look up, and to my horror, I couldn't see the screen. There was a great big wash of light all over it. Somebody I had carefully balanced the lights in the place before I went for supper. While I was gone to supper, somebody comes along and said, "Oh, there's not enough light on that." I hadn't, because they didn't turn. I didn't leave my puppet lights on, which were built into the theater, so they would light the things with the character, the puppets, so it would not rush on my screen. So they put this big floodlight on, and I couldn't see the screen to do the animation and move my puppets in sync with what I had filmed. So I had to stop everything, which got it all out of sync, and I came up front and I said, "Could you please turn off that light?" I did not put that on. I don't know who wanted to help, but they're destroying the show. And Jim Henson was in the audience looking. I knew he was there, but I didn't know he was scouting for a new show.
Yeah. Oh man.
And the new show, of course, was Sesame Street. And but in a way, Jane Henson pointed out, because Jim was sometimes a man of few words, other times he talked a lot. He's a genius. Anyway, if I hadn't had the theater go wrong, the show wouldn't have been so funny. Because my reactions and ad-libs were funnier than my writing. So that's what made him decide that I was good on my feet, and even though I was kneeling, and that I would be a good person to maybe have him do a new puppet. He wanted to build a tall, goofy bird, and a purple character who lives in a pile of trash named Oscar.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because he never was purple. And I changed Big Bird from being a goofy yokel to a child.
Yes.
That was about probably, I might as well choose 3 months into the show. I began to realize how inappropriate it was that he was a country yokel.
Yeah.
"Oh, hi there, a Big Bird. How you doing?" And I could have sung, "Oh, I love you, you love me." I could have gotten that job.
Yep.
Thanks. You know that Barney weighs 70 pounds, a Big Bird weighs 10.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah. So anyway, I've worked with Barney a couple times.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and I was also on the what they call it a satellite recording were satellite stations all over the USA and Canada could get satellite images of what I was doing, and they could interview me on the radio and sometimes even for TV, because we had cameras on. They were fixed. There was no cameraman working. We just switched from one to two. So, and one of the people said, "Can you stand up, Big Bird?" Are you standing? I said, "No, I'm sitting on a stool because I'm a lot taller than the dinosaur." So he says, "Can you stand up?" I stood up. The camera's being fixed. I stood up right out of the picture. Big Bird's head was above the frame. But he didn't have to. He was standing already. So
yeah,
a great deal of, probably about a 3-foot difference in height.
Wow, that's crazy. No, I read your book actually, the Words of Wisdom, the Wisdom of Big Bird. I read that not too long ago, and I think it was chapter 3. You mentioned 3 of your main heroes in life. One of them was Walt Disney, and the other one was Jim Henson.
Yeah, and the third one was the artist Wyatt. Andrew Wyeth.
Yep. Yeah.
And we had been in the room with all 3 of them.
Right. Wow. That is crazy.
I was hired to be an animator by Disney. Walt walked into the room just as they were saying, "Well, we think you could work out well as an animator for us." And Walt then walks in and says, "Oh, wow, can I talk to him?" They said, "No, he's going to be busy." So I never got to see him.
Oh, no.
But it was Walt.
Yeah, you saw him.
It was all within 2-3 feet away from me for a minute.
Wow. See, in the documentary, you mentioned that, but I didn't know you actually saw Walt himself.
Yeah. So I did get to meet all 3 of my, and it was interesting with Andrew Wyeth. I met him in Boston, and he at the Museum of Fine Arts. He had a show, a retrospective show of some of the things. He came out, and I spoke to him, and he came out in the lobby where I was waiting with Bozo the Clown, and who I used to work with.
Yeah.
And the Boston Bozo, what do you call him? So Andrew then was with his son Jamie, and he's showing his out to his son, because a lot of it had been sold years before, and Jamie had not seen a lot of it in person. So he said, I'm going to show this to my son. Would you like to come along with us and join me? So it's just 3 of us going through the whole empty museum, except it was full of his paintings. God, it was great stuff.
Wow. I can't imagine.
Yeah, so I got to, and I didn't bother interrupting them at all while they were talking together, so I just watched and listened.
Yeah, oh yeah, that would still be amazing.
And so I really had a wonderful time. But with Walt, I didn't get a chance to speak to him, but Jim was the one who I worked with for 20 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, what was it like the first time you worked side by side with Jim?
Well, of course, I'm aware. I said, my God, I'm working with. I didn't get to work with Walt Disney because I walked out. I didn't take the job that day. I decided I could do better, and that was only because of the pay.
Yeah.
$56 a week. That's not very good, even in 1957.
Yeah,
that's pretty poor for specialist work.
Exactly.
So within a year, within 6 months, I was making animated films in Boston for commercials mostly, and after 4 years, I discovered how much I don't like making animation. I did only a little animation after the disaster of losing that film. It burned up in the car.
Yeah.
I tried suing Ford, but they hired big guns because they didn't want to lose the case.
Yeah.
I lost, and it cost me a lot of money to lose, so I decided not to do any more animation. I don't like it because I can get plenty of work doing what I do.
And so the first time you worked side by side with Jim, were you nervous? Were you excited?
Yeah, well, I was, I guess. I was really in awe. But I kept saying to myself, gosh, I'm working with Jim. And he was very quiet, but very understanding and kind, very kindly man. And he never yelled at you. But I wasn't doing so well the first few things I did.
Mm-hmm.
I kept missing the opening of a song we were doing. I keep missing it. I'd open the mouth of the puppet on the very first, when they first start to sing. The others two would be doing it, was Frank and Jim. So he said, well, just to listen, there's a little tiny bell you'll hear, like ding, when you listen for that, and then open the mouth as the ring starts going away. ding, and open them up. And that's how he did it. Rather than say, "Can't you do it right?" Because that's what Frank would speak to you about. Frank is not the same man as Jim, but they were very close as far as working goes.
Yep. You know, it's quite funny. Walt Disney and Jim Henson are two of my idols as well. And I would have loved to have just been in the same room with both of them. Of course, it can't happen now, but...
Yeah, they're both gone.
Yeah.
All of them. All three are dead.
Yeah, I know. I hate getting older. It's just people passing away.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people... One of my favorite classmate from high school, he was the only one who, when I was being bullied, mostly by words, also physically, and there was a lot of... You'll see mentions of it if you see I Am Big Bird.
Yeah, that's a great documentary.
Yeah. So Jack Whittier is just a tall guy, about 6'2". He said, "Don't listen to them, kid. You're much better than they are. They're just idiots, you know, and you don't deserve what they're doing, so just ignore them if you can."
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, he was such a good fellow, but he just died. I was so sad. See him vote once a year.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, he everybody ages differently, but he was still tall, very tall, but he always looked a little bit, now as he got an older age, he looked like an old hound dog. I didn't say that. I didn't know if he'd like the comparison.
Yeah.
He was a wonderful guy.
Most of my family, they never graduated high school, so I'm trying to break that barrier. My daughter Brooklyn was also a motivation for me to go back to school. Every day after work, went straight to school, and it paid off.
At age 26, Kareem finished his high school diploma.
I could not have done it alone. I see the future is really bright for me.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
So I'm a cat, and I just moved in with this new human, and she's got this little toy she's always playing with, all day long. Tap, 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 bloop, bloop. She can't put it down. There it is. Oh, and get this. She even talks to it. Last week she asked it for Chinese, and guess what? Egg rolls showed up. Like magic. Humans have cool toys.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And in '09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Hey everyone, let's all stop what we're doing and take a moment. You see, every moment can be kind of special. But they can be loud moments, goofy moments, dorky moments, it doesn't matter. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us.
When Jim passed, how hard did that hit you personally?
Well, we couldn't even believe it. I got a phone call at about 6:45 in the morning. They wanted to let us know about his death and not see it just on the TV, because they knew it would be in all the TV shows in the morning. And it was. He died at 1:30 at night. And so the phone call went like this. This is Ann Kinney. I'm private secretary to Jim. And he died last night at 1:30. I said, oh, my God. But, no, died? And Deb heard me say that. And she assumed it was my dad, who was very, very old. He was 21. And so I said, no, not my dad, Jim. She says, Jim who? I said, Jim Henson. Well, she had to say that only because we were close friends with him, except you can't picture him dying, the most vibrant, lively man I ever knew. The day he hired me, he said, how do you like to work? I said, what do you mean? He said, well, do you like to work long hours? Like Frank and I like to work all day, all night, and then all the next day, and then all the next night, and the next day again, too. 3 days of it, without ever going to bed.
Wow.
Do you like to work like that? I said, hell no. I said, but I will work as much as you need me.
Yep.
I will be there. So, and I don't think that Frank was quite the same as Jim, wanting to work like that. Jim said he hadn't had a vacation in 3 years, and he'd much rather work than go on a vacation. Well, at that score, we're kind of directly opposite each other.
Exactly.
So, and now I only have to work once every few months.
Wow.
We didn't record this past year, so we'll make a lot up this year.
Okay.
But we're 2 months late starting, so they'll start in April, but I'll be in Hawaii at the time. And now the way I'm doing the voices, and I can add the voices to the scenes when I get back.
Okay.
So they said, go ahead with your trip.
And
so it's pretty nice.
Is it Matt Vogel?
I have a job, and I don't have to do it. All the time.
And Matt Vogel's in the suit itself?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's just a terrific guy, and he's working on the Muppet Show too. But in an article I just got we found in a magazine called Masters' Preview, it says that not only does he work for Muppets, as well as going to be my stand-in, he's also Kermit the Frog. He's not Kermit the Frog.
Yeah.
Steve Whitmire is.
Yeah.
And he does. He is now the person who does. I am the coat. I like to code things.
Okay.
But he can do almost anything. So he's doing very important characters on the Muppet Show.
Nice. That's gotta be exciting. Somebody who you kind of brought up into the world to see him go advance like he is.
Yeah, because Deb and I saw him at a local puppet festival in Atlanta in the late '60s, and he was doing a puppet so well. I said, gee, Muppets would hire you on the spot. They could use you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just signing a contract with animated ones who created things like Huckleberry Hound and those kind of puppets.
Okay.
Not puppets, animated.
Animated, yep.
And so they wanted to break into puppetry. Well, I spoke to him just in time because he as soon as he met Jane, she says, "You're hired." As soon as she saw his work, Jane Henson, she was the scout for him for new characters, new workers. So I'm kind of think of them. I'm trying to. Why is the name of these people? I can't. Their name is. Anyway, they didn't make it with puppets.
Hanna-Barbera, you're thinking of.
Hanna-Barbera, yeah. They did not make it into the world of puppetry. It's hard to do. You need some background before you can just step into it.
And how did you come to the voice that we hear as Big Bird now? How did you...
Well, at first Jim said, think of he'd always wanted to make a character based on the LaTroy Dragon, which is a dragon-shaped costume, but from the neck up, your hand's in the head, and you can manipulate the head. And it becomes very tall. Big Bird was 8'2", and I was the smallest boy in my class, so there was a lot of satisfaction in that. So when I suggested that they let me play him as a kid, which is much more useful to the story than a yokel from the sticks, he talked like a Mortimer Snurd.
Mm-hmm.
You probably don't know that character, but he was part of Edgar Bergen's small troupe of ventrilo puppets, So anyway, So I just lightened his voice. Big Bird's voice is my voice. I just go higher. So hello, hello, hello. Hi there, here I am. And so it's just my own voice. And Oscar was a different thing. I never had done a voice like him. And so it was you probably know it was the cab driver.
Yes.
And we're two Macs. But I said, gee, I think I can do that. So I started talking like this. I said, this will do it. But I decided to have him speak proper English. Because after all, although some characters say me want cookie, and Elmo always speaks of himself in the third person, which is not going to help him with learning.
No, exactly.
But it also gives them quite a character. So, but anyway, Oscar, if they put in words, the writers put in words ain't, or other things like that, I correct it. He's grouchy, but he does speak a good English, and so does Big Bird.
Yep. Yeah, he might be grouchy, but he's good at grammar.
Yeah. Well, I think it particularly since my characters, particularly in the way it used to be, because it was every day was almost every day Bob McGrath would be the victim of Oscar's tricks. Like what's that you got there, Oscar? It's just my new invention is an electric spoon. Does all the work for you. I said, really? How does that work? I said, well, I'll show you. Here's a bowl of, the script came along and said, here's a roll of cold paint. And I said, wait a minute, Tilt, you can't say that. They said, what's the matter? Well, we're teaching the kids don't eat paint, and they're going to have Bob eat paint? Are you kidding? None of the characters should ever suggest, even Oscar, if it's not food, we don't suggest eating it.
Exactly. Oh, that's funny.
So, so Bob would pick up the spoon, and he did really all the work. And I said, okay, I'm going to plug it in now, Bob. And there's a wire trailing from this big spoon. And suddenly his hand goes back and forth in the cup, and he gets covered with gravy. Because I had him change it to cold gravy. And so Bob is covered. That's typical of what Oscar would pull on him.
Oh, yeah.
And I had practice with that. Because on the Bozo show, I created a character called Bozo's grandma, Grandma Nelly. He was always yelling in the cartoons, "Whoa, Nelly!" So I called her Grandma Nelly.
Okay.
And she was always trying to bamboozle him like a bucket of steam, 25 cents. What do you want a bucket of steam for? We used dry ice for that. And I had a good friend of mine who was a student at the time at BU, and he was in the box, which I had them build in the prop department. And so Grandma Nelly would say, 25 cents, please. And he'd have to reach in his pocket to a quarter. And Granny would say, okay, I'm going to give you, I'll scoop in here some steam. And, of course, he put a chunk of dry ice and put a little water in there. And steam would come out of the bucket. So, but the thing is, he's down in that box. There was no air holes to get that carbon dioxide out of there.
Mm-hmm.
Displaced the air. So I looked down in, and there was another bucket was not coming out. I looked down in, and Mark is unconscious on the floor of this.
Oh man!
Box. So I said, I see. I think I better get out of here right now because I see there's another pigeon coming down the street, and maybe I can get some money off him. So I pushed it out. It's on rollers, so I could get it off the thing. I said, get him out of there quick. He's dying. So he was all right after about half an hour.
Wow.
But anyway, so she was always bamboozling her own grandson, and so that was kind of a fun thing. And because I was on every day and every show, on some early days I was in every show except maybe one or two per season. One year I was in every single show.
Wow.
So, of course, Elmo kind of took over.
Yeah, he did. He kind of did. That's around the time that I remember not watching it as much as when he was really introduced.
Yeah. It's funny, I had a character, I had my first TV show in 1955 in Las Vegas. It paid $10 a week.
Uh-huh.
Must have been a lousy show. I didn't even have a monitor. They wouldn't rig it up and they could have done it so easily. So anyway, I had a rabbit. It was the white rabbit from Alice in Wonderland. My mother built that show.
Uh-huh.
Big flop of a show. That Alice in Wonderland is not a great story for kids.
No.
Too silly. Kids don't like it. It's kind of boring. Anyway, let's see what happened. Oh, I know. I used a falsetto voice for Rascal Rabbit, my star of the show. And the thing is that that boy, I had a writer who it was very wordy writing. It was all just talk. Not a great show. Should be a lot more action with puppets, and peekaboo and all that stuff. So I suddenly got orders to get shipped to Europe, and I was kind of thrilled at that. So, but I knew I had to end my TV show. So I go to work, and I said, "This is going to be the last show, because after next week I'll be gone." I said, "Why?" "Oh, I'm being shipped out." And so the director said, "Let me tell you something, my boy. If you ever get another TV show, don't ever use that voice again." After a half hour hearing him talking that squeaky voice, it sounded just like Elmo.
Wow. I just think years later, take me.
Never did use that voice again.
Yeah.
Falsetto was easy to do then. Now my voice hasn't changed. Big Bird sounds just like he did when he started, which is why I can still be in my 80s and do the show and play the 6-year-old. I don't think anybody has ever in radio or television done a 6-year-old.
No.
Or actually in his 80s.
I can't think of one, no.
No, I don't think there is.
Dear John, I'm leaving. Uncontrolled high blood pressure is serious, and I can quit whenever I want. Why can't we get back to when you checked on me? I don't want to leave. But remember, when I quit, you quit. Sincerely, your heart.
Listen to your heart and don't let it quit on you. High blood pressure can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range today. For help keeping yours at a healthy range, text PRESSURE to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association, the American Stroke Association, and the Ad Council.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take one.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard, so you don't need to sell all your belongings and live in a commune.
These dungarees belong to all of us now, Tom.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman.
We need a new stuntman!
You just need FeedThePig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at FeedThePig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Behold, my precious. Ooh, yeah, let me tell you something right here. It's the Loot Crate subscription box, yeah, full of exclusive loot, fun surprises delivered to your door every month.
Just pick up your favorite geeky genre, Daddy.
From the original Loot Crate, the Loot Crate DX collectible boxes, dude. Cowabunga!
To the Loot Gaming video game box. Woohoo! Yee-hoo!
Wowzers! With kits starting as low as $11.99 per month, there's a box just about for all collectors.
To get your geek on, head over to phoenixmedia.us/Loot Crate and claim your exclusive offer. That's FENIX media.us/Loot Crate. Great Scott!
Snap into a Loot Crate, dig it?
You're listening to Fenix Media. Listen live and explore more great shows at phoenixmedia.us.
So you've been Big Bird for more than 40 years.
Yeah, 46 years now.
Sad to say that there's going to be one day when Carol Spinney is no longer Big Bird. voice or the puppet, what would you like to be remembered as? What would your version of Big Bird like to be remembered as?
Well, the child that we've always played him as ever since I changed it, and continue to be the naive, but naive is kind of a kind word for stupid, but he's not really dumb. Originally, Big Bird was very, very not very smart, and that was the idea behind him. And I said, I think he should be maybe a little slower at learning than a real child, but still he can learn. And he wasn't, drooling or anything. So I think just continue to be. He's actually more of a human than he is a bird, because birds only may want a cracker. Wally want a cracker. But he would be in human kind of roles all the time. I think they would probably continue with it after I'm gone. Because, certainly people like Matt, who can get very close to the voice, although while I'm alive, they're paying the extra thing, because he could do the voice, for me to continue doing the voice, which is wonderful, because I don't want to stop.
No, I wouldn't want to stop either. Sounds like a dream job.
Yeah, people say, "Why don't you want to retire?" I said, "What? Walk away from being Big Bird? Would you want to do that?"
Nope.
Most people say, "Oh yeah, put it that way." Yes, I would want to leave, and nobody does.
Now, earlier in the interview, you mentioned that you commission drawings. People commission you to draw. How can people do that? How can people pay you to get a drawing?
Well, some people write to me and ask, "Can you do some sketches for me?" Well, they don't offer any money, and I don't bother. I've got too many. I can't even answer all the mail.
Exactly.
And but I have a little gallery in Putnam, Connecticut, that sells my stuff. It's the only one representing me now. And so if people like the stuff, they can see it on the internet if they want, because it's on the internet too. And they can commission it. Sometimes it's come by phone, the commissions, but a lot of times they'll see the drawings and they say, "Really, can you do a drawing specifically for something I want done?"
Mm-hmm.
They said, "Of course." And so this one is going to be more money, because I'm doing a lot of research in it.
Exactly.
A lot of characters from different countries.
That would be amazing to have an official Carol Spinney drawing.
Well, they are pretty nice, because I was the one thing got me hired quickly with Disney was that your stuff was we like the fact that you already draw like in the Disney kind of style.
Yeah.
Well, I just loved Walt Disney stuff so much when I was a kid that I have for years tried to emulate them, not copy them so much,
exactly.
Create my own characters, but have them be like they would come out of the Disney studio, maybe.
Well, all right, Carol, this has truly been an honor. I've interviewed most of my childhood, heroes, besides the ones that I already passed on, and I got to say, this has got to be my favorite one I've ever done. So this has been truly fun and an honor talking with you.
Well, thank you. It's very kind. Well, I hope I answered what you need. If you have any follow-up needs, you can use the phone.
Actually, you know what? I do have one more follow-up. Since last week was the anniversary of the Challenger, and you talked about that on the documentary and how you were supposed to be on the Challenger. Can you just kind of talk a little bit about that? That part really hit me pretty hard when I watched the documentary. I cried when I watched it, because it was just so... I mean, first of all, we lost so many great people, but then Big Bird could have been on the Challenger. Tell me a little bit about that story.
It would have been... They realized it would if Big Bird died on that thing.
I can't imagine.
It would be me too, because yet I've often thought if I had the reason why I couldn't go was because the bird was too big to put on the ship, no place to store it, and I'm glad I didn't offer my suggestion, which was keep him. It wouldn't matter if he was out in the vacuum.
Yeah,
he could have stored it in the big storage area where they could have an arm in there, they fake things out.
Exactly.
They set things out in orbit with that mechanical arm that can lift things out. I thought, well, they could just put the costume in there and bring it in through the airlock, and so that way I could get to go. But then afterwards I thought, gosh, I'm glad I didn't tell them.
Yeah.
No, although I felt we watched it go up and we cried because it was so sad to think of those people dying.
Yeah, I can't imagine the kind of pain that even people.
But knowing I had been scheduled to go up in it, my scalp crawled when I thought, oh my God, they just all died. I would have been there. Very, very awful thought, because I'm very happily married.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that in the documentary. She seems very lovely.
Yes, she is. She's just the best thing. I want at that part. They twice in the film they come back to this party where I was singing "I Love Trash" myself without being with the puppets or anything. And that was a party that Jim Henson threw for my 15th year of being with them. Gosh, now it's 46 years because Jim didn't stay that long himself, unfortunately.
Wow.
And but in that party, I said getting to be Big Bird was the second greatest thing I ever had happen to me. And I then put my arm around Deb, who was standing next to me, which was made. I didn't have to use all the words.
Yeah.
But but as a boy who was a boy puppeteer, and that happened to go into such success, it's really. And I've been mentoring a young man. He wrote to me first when he was 5, to me, not to Big Bird, because the children would write to Big Bird a lot.
Oh, wow.
Dear Big Bird, you're my best friend. How about, why don't you come and play with me? How about next Thursday? That was... Oh. Another one was, I've just gotten a brand new bunk bed. It's a top and a bottom. You can come and stay, and you can have the top.
That is so sweet.
When I was a kid, I had a chance to be in bunk beds, and I always wanted the top. It just seemed like you're on the top of the world,
Yeah,
in the Air Force, I took the top bunk.
Finally get the top bunk.
Yeah. So, anyway, I was awfully lucky and happy that I could do this for a living.
Well, you've made a lot of children very happy. I know that for a fact.
Well, thank you. And it's a nice. When I was what we did in Salt Lake City was almost an anniversary of the. Well, it was not that I did my show that was a disaster. It was in August, I think, of 1969. And, of course, it did give me this job. But anyway, I really have my life seemed like this is what it should happen for me, to get that job. And as soon as I saw what the show was like, I said, I think I'm going to be in a terrific position because I think, and I'm the only 2 puppets who was on regularly every day. And I had the 2 characters. Within a year, Big Bird and Oscar were the stars of the show, and they were only intended to be just a little more fantasy than just everything being real.
Yep.
So I said, I think this is going to be awfully good for me. And indeed it was.
So since you've been Big Bird so many years, do you ever have weird dreams where you actually are Big Bird?
Not lately, but I have. And it's all funny because once in a while I'm still working for the Muppets, although I'm just another schlep with the Muppets. And but some of the stories would be, I'm late getting to the show. It was a nightmare. I couldn't get to the show in time, and I would be always upset. There's no script, and yet you said you'll know what to do when you go out there. I said can't go out on national television without some direction, some idea what you're going to do. And that one is a theme that often comes along. I must within the last year I had that same dream.
It's almost like the high school dream where you forget the combination on your locker or something.
Yeah, it's not quite the same as being downtown with no clothes on.
Yeah.
But I had that dream. That wasn't too comfortable.
Well, all right, Carol. This has been amazing. Could I get you to close the episode out as Big Bird and Oscar?
Sure.
Well, it's awfully nice talking to you there, Tim. It's nice visiting with you. And I keep watching Sesame Street if you get a chance. And Oscar's here, too. Oscar, everything you want to say?
Yeah, be quiet, you turkey.
Hey, I'm not a turkey.
Well,
he always calls me a turkey. I'm not a turkey. I'm really a giant golden condor.
You look like I don't think you're one of those either.
Yeah, well, I know I'm not a giant golden condor. I'm really just a lark. Little funny words here. Bye, everybody.
Hey, have a rotten day.
That's amazing, Carol. Thank you so much. Hopefully one day I can actually meet you in person.
Sure, love it. We're gonna. Where are you located?
I'm in Montana, so it's kind of hard for me to. Nothing really comes around Montana.
We filmed in Billings.
Oh.
Did you see the movie? You did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, there's some scenes from Billings where we met the Crow Indians, and Big Bird is I'm standing there, and it's the most beautiful hills, all covered with little juniper trees. They call them cedars there, but they're not really cedars.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, I love that part of the country, but
Yes.
I like where we are. So I never did move to New York. I spent 46 years driving back and forth to New York, and it's an hour and 3/4 hour ride.
Wow. That's insane, but it's totally worth it, though.
Yeah, well, it's worth it at both ends, because I have a piece of land that I bought in 1961 for $40 an acre, and it's a kilometer long, and it's the most beautiful piece of land you ever saw. You would starve to death on it. Poor soil. It wouldn't be good for a farmer, but and there's so much rock and cliffs. There's rocks stick up out of the ground all over the place. Big, great ledges, and one of the cliffs is about 30 feet high. It's a straight drop. It's dramatic.
Oh, is that the part of the documentary we see where your wife is sitting there on the cliff?
Yeah, although that cliff was in Ireland. That was the cliffs of Moher.
Okay.
But those cliffs were 700 feet high.
Yeah.
And see, there was a promontory of land sticking out. That's how I got that shot. And so I could look across the gap and see her. And so I said, "You sit there, and then I'll wave to you when I'm going to start filming." We got so much good footage. We gave them probably 500 hours of film.
What? That is great.
Took them 4 years to sort through it and make the story they put together.
Wow.
I thought they did a good job.
Oh, it was remarkable. It really inspired me.
It's funny. People, one guy has been writing to me. I've never met him, but I answer his letters once in a while. I haven't got time to do much. But
yeah.
Anyway, he's older than I am. Older than dirt, as we say. So anyway, he said, "You must be making a lot of money from that movie." I know when you're in the subject of a documentary, they get the money,
exactly,
not you.
Yep,
you're the subject. But it's not like being an actor and being paid. I'm not complaining. I love these guys; they look great.
Yeah, no,
and that movie can't hurt.
Nope.
My future. Anyway, I'll let you go.
Yeah, Carol, this has been great.
Okay, well, have a rotten day.
Hey, that's my words.
Sorry, Oscar.
I'd never say that. I'm sorry, but I'd never say that.
You just said it, Oscar.
Oh, I hate you.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Saturday Morning Rewind. Please check them out on Facebook and Twitter. And that's all, folks.